Let's talk about the Chiefs signing a defensive tackle, note some standout plays and players from today's practice, which was Tuesday, August 9th, and take a look at one of the most consistently impressive players on offense at camp so far, as well as highlight the defense, who seemed to have an absolute heyday today, and much freaking more. But first, how about those? What's up, guys? My name is Cole, aka the Arrowhead Mastodon Redbeard Phenomenon, or sometimes known as the Great Bearded Swami of the Red Legion, and I do daily news about the Kansas City Chiefs, so make sure to sub if you're new, and hit that like button if you are as impressed as I am that not only did Patrick Mahomes hit the crossbar with this behind-the-back throw, but also because he did it easily left-handed. That is insane. And let's get into this video starting with today's injury report, which was as follows. Tight end Jody Fortson once again didn't practice due to his quad strain, and this makes it his 8th missed practice in a row. Wide receiver Gary Jennings is still recovering from his concussion, and y'all have to hear this wild freaking story about Jennings and how he got this concussion. It was at the indoor practice last week, and he ran into a wall. And I'm not joking. That section of the wall happened to be like a garage door of sorts with a small garage type window, and Jennings literally bounced his helmet off of it and spiderwebbed the window. And yes, this is a true story, and a wild one at that. Holy smokes, I hope he's okay. Taylor Stallworth is still out with that knee contusion. DeRuse Fountain is still struggling with his groin strain. And once again, no surprise here, offensive tackle Lucas Niang is still on the PUP list due to rehabbing his knee, but Rashad Fenton is no longer on the PUP list. He was back today, which means good news for him in his shoulder recovery and rehab, and also for the competition in the cornerback room. He is still in a ramp-up period of sorts, though, so he didn't participate fully, but was seen out in individual drills and also in some 1v1s, including here in this clip against JuJu Smith-Schuster. A tough ask for Fenton to cover on his first day back, but hey, he gave it a go, and JuJu said no. Touchdown Kansas City per Mitch Holthus. More on highlights later, as I do want to mention there was another injury today at practice, and that was safety Zayne Anderson, who left today's practice early on the front of the cart, and the team later confirmed it was because of a shoulder injury. So while Rashad Fenton's shoulder is getting better, Anderson's shoulder is getting worse, but we won't know the severity of the shoulder injury until the team gives an update, maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure. But from here, let's talk about an addition that the Chiefs made today. That's right, they signed defensive tackle Danny Shelton to a one-year deal. Shelton was the 12th overall pick by the Cleveland Stains in the 2015 NFL Draft, was traded to the Patriots in 2018, and found himself with the Lions in 2020 and the Giants in 2021, bouncing around like a literal pinball. He's a run-stuffing DT by nature. Shelton has appeared in 100 career NFL games with 72 career starts. He appeared in 13 games with the Giants last season, recording 31 total tackles, a tackle for loss, and a half sack on the year. Crazy, half sack. The addition of Shelton will provide some much needed depth on the interior, especially with Taylor Stallworth dealing with that knee contusion, which is a knee bruise. Very fancy term there. They also have quite a few developmental players on the interior defensive line, lower down on the depth chart. So nice work on Veach, shoring up some interior D-line depth. Kent Swanson says this is a smart move because DT depth wasn't a strength of this team, and Shelton provides a true backup nose tackle. This may mean bad news for Taylor Stallworth. I don't know if his knee injury is worse than we think, or if the Chiefs simply aren't happy with his progress so far. Either way, we're going to find out soon, so freaking book it. The Chiefs will slowly be cutting down their 90-man roster to 85 by August 16th, then to 80 by the 23rd, then to 53 by the 13th, and then of course they have their practice squad, which I think is 16 off the top of my head, but I'm probably wrong. Anyway, in spite of all the cut downs they're going to be making this month, Mike Borgonzi, the Chiefs' assistant GM, said they will still continue to find ways to add to this roster.
We're never going to stop trying to add to this roster. You know, when you get up to training camp, the draft is over. There's a few different ways. It's through street free agency. You saw us sign Carlos Dunlap, and then through the waiver claim process that happens here after the cut down day is a big time for us. And then you've also seen us make some small trades during the preseason, whether it's player for player or conditional picks. I think back in 2018, that's how we were able to acquire Traverius Ward. in a trade with Dallas for a player for player. So we're always looking for different ways to add players, to add competition to the group throughout training camp.
So keep your eyes peeled because the Chiefs are far from finished when it comes to making moves. And speaking of moves being made, let's look at the offensive line's lineup from today because they keep shuffling guys around like a deck of freaking cards. Andrew Wiley was back out there as the top team's right tackle, and then Jerron Christian could be seen with the twos at left tackle, while Roderick Johnson was on the right side of the twos, and then Darian Kennard was moved back from the twos to the threes today at right tackle. So the movement and shuffling continues, but Wiley found himself back out there as the top right tackle today. Noted. And since we're talking about the offensive line, here's a clip of Creed Stonewall Humphrey with a nice 1v1 rep. And then here's one of Roderick Johnson against Carlos Dunlap, in which it looks like Johnson gets the best of Dunlap on the first rep, but Dunlap the second time gets by him via the outside shoulder. And apparently Orlando Brown Jr. shut Frank Clark down in back-to-back sets, which is nice for Orlando Brown Jr., certainly. And if we look at the running backs, Derek Gore made a nice move to fake out Jack Cochran. Then Ronald Jones got a couple steps on Willie Gay, showing a nice shake, and then bobbled the pass and dropped it. So that's a bummer, but I did read elsewhere that Rojo had a couple other decent catches as well as a great set in one-on-one pass protection. Then Isaiah Pacheco, the talk of the town himself, saw two very strong back-to-back runs, then could be seen getting in some receiving reps with the first team offense, and also sadly dropped a wide open flats pass that would have been a walk-in TD had he caught it. Tough, but drops happen. Same in the case with Rojo earlier that I mentioned, and even receivers such as McCole Hardman, who also dropped a walk-in TD from Mahomes off of a slant route and had a couple tough breaks on some 1v1s that I'll show later when I highlight the defense because they went off today. Crazy. He's also had some great days overall talking about Hardman, but maybe today just wasn't his day. I don't know. I wasn't there, but just from what I was gathering on Twitter. Cornell Powell had a solid grab you can see here against Nazeeh Johnson, having hands similar to glue, so I do like that. Nice grab by Cornell Powell. And then here's a clip of JuJu catching a nice contested ball like the stud WR1 that he's going to be. And also another great catch here in the red zone with tight coverage by the newly activated Rashad Fenton. And man, this catch is so good. I know this is only training camp. It's not in a game, blah, blah, freaking blah. But do we really think Tyreek Hill would have been able to make that catch? I will answer it for you, and it is no. Although I will forever miss that very fast, but very little man, don't get me wrong. The Chiefs wide receiver coach Joe Blameyer spoke to the media today and had high praise for JuJu Smith-Schuster, comparing him in some ways to the legend himself, Travis Kelce.
Great player. He's just got a natural feel. And it's very similar to Trav. He just knows the game. And the passing game, his style of route running, it gets him open. And the quarterbacks see it, and they put it on him, and he makes the catch.
And Matt McMullen had some great things to say about JuJu today as well, saying Smith-Schuster has been one of the most consistently impressive players in this year's camp, and Tuesday's practice was no exception. Smith-Schuster, it's a lot of S's, tallied multiple catches during the season, including a sidearm throw from Mahomes on a slant route before hauling in a TD grab a bit later, and JuJu also brought in an exceptional contested grab during wide receiver, the CB's one-on-one drills earlier in practice, which we talked about that earlier. So yeah, one of the most consistently impressive players in this year's camp. Freaking nice. I like that, and I'm not surprised. But what I am a bit surprised about, to be honest, is just how fast rookie Skyy Moore seems to be catching on in this offense. The Chiefs wide receivers coach Joe Blameyer also had some nice things to say about Skyy.
Skyy's come in, and he wants to be perfect. He wants to take every rep, learn from it, see the whole picture.
And Joe says that Skyy is the first person to come over to him and ask questions, as he wants to be on top of everything here on the offense, and having veterans like MVS and JuJu Smith-Schuster here learning everything alongside Skyy has actually been helpful for him because they are coming in here as vets and fully expected to learn every facet of the playbook very quickly. So Skyy has taken it upon himself to do the same thing, even though he's a rookie.
And there's no excuses for them. We expect the veteran guys who we brought in to know everything, and they're learning it as well. And so Skyy has taken that approach, like, hey, if they're knowing everything and it's the first time they're hearing it, then I should too.
Skyy also had some nice grabs at practice today, proving to be the ever-faithful new guy on the field. It's just training camp, of course, but it's a good sign for him. He had a couple of nice catches from Henne, and then this incredible snag from Mahomes near the right sideline. I mean, just look at this. He jumped in the air while spinning for the ball and came down while fighting with Jalen Watson as he got a hand on the ball himself. So nice freaking catch, Skyy freaking more. And here's a clip of Skyy putting a nice little move on Boodle to get wide open in the middle of the field. Boodle, put your hands on this man. Please, good sir, it's football. And then lastly, on the wide receiver room, I know some of you were upset with me because of my Josh Gordon reporting. I'm a Josh Gordon hater. Somebody even threatened me in the comments because apparently I don't like Josh Gordon because he smoked weed, even though I've never even said that. Not even remotely true, you little liar that I blocked. Have a good freaking day.
Loser! You're a loser!
Anyway, I get it. His story is an emotional one with setback after setback after setback. We all want to see this man come back with a vengeance and scorch the league. And while he has had a nice couple days recently at camp, he's been pretty quiet for most of camp thus far. And to double down on Josh Gordon's stock seeming to fall, please don't hate me. Hate the Chiefs, I guess, because they put this thing out, but they released their unofficial depth chart for Saturday's preseason game. And I'll talk more about this depth chart in tomorrow's video more than likely, but this is how the wide receiver room looks as of right now. JuJu, MVS, McCole Hardman, Skyy, DeRuse Fountain, Justin Watson. So yeah, there's the first sixth, with the next two, 7 and 8, being Cornell Powell and Josh Gordon. So this is pretty accurate to what I've been predicting, reporting, etc. in my videos, with Justin Watson and DeRuse Fountain being the perceived locks at wide receiver 5 and 6, with Josh Gordon and Cornell Powell nipping at their heels. However, because of Fountain's and Watson's special teams abilities per Dave Tobe, they are getting the nod over Gordon and Fountain, at least for the moment. And I'm so sorry that they put this list out there and he's not on there. There's nothing I can do about it.
Another thing that stood out to me was the fact that Josh Gordon was not among what would be the top 6 wide receivers. And that sort of fits what we've seen at camp, and an unfortunate part of camp, because I felt like Josh was in a good place to maybe make this team. And I feel less and less like that every day.
There is a little hiccup in this list right now, though, and that is the fact that Fountain is currently still injured. So that'll be interesting to see who gets the bump up if Fountain doesn't end up playing on Saturday. And remember, this is an unofficial depth chart that could change before Saturday, and some may not even play much time on the field this weekend at all. For example, JuJu Smith-Schuster and MVS could see limited time playing to give some more time to the other guys fighting for a roster spot and give them time to shine, or to confirm that they do not have what it takes to be on the team as a starter. From here, though, let's talk defense. In today's practice, it looked like the second team defensive line was Kando and Dunlap at defensive end, with Saunders and Wharton at defensive tackle, and apparently the newly signed tackle Matt Dickerson showed some promising reps in 1v1s, which is always a good sign for the new guy. And also, Malik Herring's hand fighting and rip moves were insanely quick, and according to Nick Jacobs, Herring might be the second best behind Chris Jones, so definitely someone to watch and monitor as time progresses. And on the subject of Chris Jones, he would have had a sack on Patrick Mahomes, but since Mahomes gets to complete the play, he threw a dart to Smith-Schuster for a TD, and then shortly after that, Carlos Dunlap actually hit Chad Henne today and put him on the ground. But from what I understand, it wasn't a big hit, yet definitely something that is not supposed to be happening right now. D-line coach Joe Cullen spoke on that briefly today also.
Well, I love the rush, but stay away from our quarterbacks. Do not go near them.
Yeah, do not touch the QB. That is a big no, no, no. The Chiefs secondary seemed to have quite the day today. Thornhill could be seen jumping in front of Kelsey's out route for the deflection in one-on-ones. Lonnie Johnson Jr. had an incredible pass breakup and followed through for an interception. Powell seemed to give up on the play, thinking it was simply batted away. Meanwhile, Lonnie focused up like he was on Adderall and came down with the interception. Nice work by Lonnie. Joshua Williams had a nice interception as well here via this clip. And then look at this one-handed INT by L'Jarius Sneed. I mean, you would think that he was not going to grab this. Maybe he should be wide receiver 6. I have no idea. Great catch. Maybe a little off by Henne, but what a great grab by Sneed. I'm looking forward to seeing that happen in the regular season. 100% book it. DiCaprio Boodle had a nice pass breakup here in this clip as well. And then here's some great coverage from McDuffie against Hardman, in which he stays committed to Hardman's route and gets his head around, and plenty of time to spot the ball and snatch it out of thin air. McDuffie is back again in this clip, fighting until the very end of this play against MVS, and was able to dislodge the ball from Marquez's hands. McDuffie is really starting to heat up here at camp like a campfire, and I do pray that it translates well this season very quickly because the loss of Shavarius Ward was indeed a big one. So big things are expected from this average-sized but very athletic man named Trent McDuffie. The Chiefs defensive backs coach Dave Merritt is very happy with the progress he's seen in McDuffie as well and talked about him briefly in his presser today.
Trent has done a great job. Trent has competed with the ones the entire time. He's very comfortable out there at the corner spot as well as the nickel. And so the thing is that now we have a guy who can actually do dual roles for us. It's just like LJ. And so, but he's very patient at the line of scrimmage and done a great job.
So he's very patient at the line of scrimmage, has done a great job playing the entire time against the ones, and can do dual roles back there in the secondary, similar to LJ, aka L'Jarius Sneed. So great news there regarding McDuffie, certainly. And then Justin Reed could also be seen in great coverage to break up a potential Valdez-Scantling TD, and again with another TD breakup in red zone work. So multiple pass breakups by safety Justin Reed in the red zone. I like that a lot. Yes, please. And while he was looking good on defense, he was not looking so good when put on the spot in special teams because Dave Tobe had him try a field goal, and Herbie Teope said this: Chiefs let safety Justin Reed attempt a field goal during special teams drills. Snap was good, hold was good, kick not so much. Reed's attempt sailed wide left.
No, I wanted to surprise him. I saw him standing there like he was hanging out. He's always hanging out at the field goal drill. So I just wanted to surprise him, throw him in there, see how he would handle it. I don't think we found our backup kicker yet. But we're gonna continue, because he's got a good leg. We're gonna keep working it and see what he can do there. Give him a little bit more practice before we just throw him in.
So yeah, Butker is the guy to kick the ball. Have no fear. Dave Tobe also said that Pacheco will be the guy, not to kick the ball, but to return kicks come this Saturday.
We're gonna give him every chance to be that guy. I mean, I just think he's got all the attributes, to be a good kick returner, and he's gotten better and better at practice, and he's doing little things better, and he's catching the ball great.
And then he mentioned that even though Trent McDuffie is the best among the new guys at catching punts, he's going to have Skyy Moore take the first crack at it, with McDuffie being the next guy. Then, of course, McCole can step in there if needed as well. So there you go. Offense, defense, special teams, highlights, standouts, presser breakdowns, all of it. What do you guys think about today's practice? Are you excited about the defensive standouts today with all the pass breakups, interceptions, and the like? What about JuJu's solid catches and being one of the most consistent standout players at camp thus far? Let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments down below, and let's fight about it down there like the mature adults we all are, per usual. Make sure to leave a super thanks or bearded comment to potentially be featured in an upcoming vid. Sub and like for more, blah, blah, blah. And then check out this video here. Pew, pew. I just hit my keyboard. It's still recording. We're all good. This is from the Scrambling Armchair on some in-depth Isaih Pacheco thoughts. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?